This is Rolland Kerns interviewing Mr. Bice Merrell at Wewoka, Oklahoma on November 18th, 1971. Mr. Merrell has lived here for a good many years, and I will let him now start in and tell us of his birthplace and some things about his early life before he moved to Oklahoma and then afterwards. Mr. Merrell?
Well, well, I was born in Logan County, Arkansas, February the 5th, 1882, at a little place called Sugar Grove. I think at that time, Logan County had two county seats, but I don't remember both of them. We lived there till the following September after I was born, and the folks moved in to the Choctaw Nation at a little place called Scullyville, about 18 miles south of Fort Smith, Arkansas. That was where they had moved the first Choctaw Indians from Mississippi to the territory. And the old Indian agency was built there. It consists of 3 huge log houses with a 70-foot porch on front, banistered. And later on, they moved that seat further up into the territory, and a fellow by the name of Tom Andrew became possessor of that property. And my dad, being a farmer, was supervising 2 large farms for Tom Andrew in the Arkansas River bottom. And so Andrew moved our family into those houses. That is 2 of them. But the one south, there was a hall between them, and it contained property of someone else. I don't remember whose property it was. But Dad took me to the farms and 2 gins until 1894. We just hooked onto some wagons in the summertime, Dad did, and we came up to Muskogee, supposed to see a fair, but I never saw anything but some horse races. Dad had a racehorse and a race mare, and I was the rider at 8 years old. Then when we left Muskogee, we came into Pottawatomie County about 6 miles southeast of Tecumseh, Oklahoma, and Dad bought out a homestead there. Well, we went, we went back down home at Old Scullyville. Now, some people are confused over the post office at Scullyville. They think it was the same, but it was not. It was Oak Lodge I-80. And the old cemetery goes by the name of Oak Lodge. Excuse me. But we went back there, and Dad sold out what property and things that we had there. And the first day of December, 94, we started the 2 moving wagons, oxens full of them. I walked and drove one of them the 200 miles, and Dad the other one. We landed in Pottawatomie County at the old homestead the morning of the 19th of December. And then we started improving that farm. I stayed there till my mother died, stayed a couple of years after, and then my dad married again, and I left home. Well, my first work after I left home was in what they called an old knock-down and drag-out saloon. I worked there about 4 months and decided that wasn't my calling. So I went back to the farm and cow wrangling and horse riding. I kept that up until I married in 1902, the October the 26th, and we went, wife and I went on the farm to working, and we raised 3 children, and in 1905 I moved into Seminole County on what is known as Bow Lake Prairie, and in the 31, while we moved to Wewoka, I'd taken over the jail under Sheriff Frank Allman, and worked 4 years as jailer. And then I got a job at McAllister as a guard, worked at the walls a while, and sent me down to the trustee building, and I worked down there a while, and then came back, taking a WPA job, worked through it, ran for sheriff, was elected, and went in office at 37 and went out in 47. And then later on, John Sowers elected sheriff. I served 4 years jailer under him, and then, so I've been out of commission, and here just a short time ago, I taken a job jailer again, and that's what I'm working at now. I'll only be 90 years old this 5th coming February. A while before that.
Well, Mr. Merrill, while you were down at McAllister being, I believe you said a guard down there, did you have any trouble such as they've been having up at Attica recently and other places that you've heard about?
No, sir. We did not have any. Everything along there is smooth while I worked there. Down at Springtown. And came back. Wasn't necessary for me to tell why I quit. But just be doing it some other people.
Mr. Merrill, in your various activities as jailer and sheriff, did you ever have any more difficulty with Indians than you did with white people?
And more with the white people than I ever did with the Indians.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Well, in other words, the Indians were very easy to get along with.
They sure was.
Well, that's good.
And they had the best law of any laws that I've ever known of.
Well, that's fun.
The old whipping tree, and then the rifle.
Well, now you'll have to explain that to me.
Well, the first 2 charges they had against them, they whipped them. The third, they shot them.
They did?
Yes, sir. Now, this old pecan tree is sitting here in front of the courthouse. I saw 2 Indians hit there when I was 17 years old.
What year was that?
I don't remember.
Well, that was in about 1908.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And then I remember seeing the Kickapoo Run, but I don't know just what year that was. But I'll never forget going up and spending that night and then watching make the race. I wished I had a picture of that. We got there in the evening, kind of late, and before the run, they started at the shot of a pistol at 12 o'clock noon.
Yeah.
And but the night before was the funniest thing. We all kind of got settled down to sleep, and about that time, kid like you know, I know somebody hollered, "Oh, Joe, here's your mule." Well, that went plumb around that nation back, and then about every 2 hours, they have to go out till daylight.
Yeah.
I never will forget that.
Well, now, the Kickapoo Run, where did that take place?
Shawnee?
Shawnee?
Yes.
I see. You did not make, nor any of your family make that run, did you?
No, Dad had done bought a homestead.
I see.
And therefore, he hadn't approved up on it, and he couldn't make the run.
I see. Well, Mr. Merrell, when your father was overseer of those farms down there on the Arkansas, near the Arkansas-Oklahoma border, did you ever have any floods down there in those days, such as we've had of recent years?
Yes, sir. 1888, they had the largest flood they'd ever known.
Mm-hmm.
Old Indians and all.
Mm-hmm.
I used to enjoy listening to an old fellow named Spencer Ainsworth tell my dad about moving their first load of money that they would send in up here to pay these Choctaws off. Said they was traveling along, and they all had them old muzzle-loading pistols.
Yeah.
And said they'd all laid them down on the wagon jolted along, and a bunch of wild turkeys passed across, all of them made for the guns, and the loads had jolted out of every gun there. And he laughed and tell what an easy job the outlaws could have taken all that money.
Yeah.
I just sat a little kid listening at it.
Yeah. Well, now, while you were jailer, either here or at McAllister, did you ever have any prisoners escape?
No, I never had an escape yet.
Well, that is marvelous. That's certainly a record.
Yeah, some when I was day jailer, some got out that night, but I wasn't jailer.
Yeah. You were not responsible for them.
No.
That's a wonderful record. Were you here when oil was first discovered around Wewoka?
Yes, sir.
What time was that? About what year?
I was saying, I just thought about, let's see now, here I moved
About what year did you say?
about 1906.
And where was that?
It was right southwest of the city over here.
Yeah.
That's where that was at. Of
Was
course, I was at that time right in on the Bull Lake Prairie, south of where Seminole is now. There wasn't no Seminole until, let's see, Seminole started building 1906.
1906, yeah. So it's about right after the oil was discovered.
Seminole started building. Yeah, Seminole built before they had the oil. That's right. It started in 1906.
Yeah.
Seminole started in the fall, I believe, in 1906.
Yeah.
And all, I reckon that well wasn't thought much of for a while. I guess about 6 or 7 was when the oil was started.
Yeah. Well, did any of your friends make any money in oil?
Oh yeah, lots of it. Lots of it.
But you never dabbled in it yourself?
No.
You had no interest in it?
In a way. I reckon I was too poor. See, I didn't get any education whatsoever. I could have passed the 6th grade, but Dad said I'd better plow. So I done the plowing. See, I was not the oldest one, but I was the only one living. There was 9 of us children, 3 of us ever got grown. So I married in 1902, the 26th day of October. We raised 3 children, very proud of.
Could you tell us where they are now?
Yeah. Bessie, the older girl, is in Dexter, New Mexico, working in one of the largest hardware and furniture stores. Well, it had a building and everything with groceries and gadgets that I ever saw. And my younger daughter is in Houston, Texas. She did have charge and still working in the office of the Campfire Girls. And my son is located, well, he's got two homes. He's got one in Tulsa and one down on the what used to be called White River, but now it's made a dam of it called Beaver Lake. He's got a real nice home there, going to retire when his wife quits teaching there in Tulsa.
Now, where is that Beaver Lake located?
Well, it's over not too far from Rocky, over the mountain.
Yeah.
He's got 172 acres there and a big, fine two-story home and a big barn. And he likes it very well. There's a little pasture out in front of his house, part of that lake's on his place. And lots of times when they're eating breakfast there, there'll be bulls grazing in that little pasture out in front of his house. He likes that very much.
Well, Mr. Merrill, you have lived in Wewoken now for about 40 years, is that
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
All right straight. Well, you must know about everybody in town, don't you?
Well, I used to, but you know, age kind of takes some of that.
Oh, sure, that's right.
But you know everybody that's been in and out of jail that period, don't you?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Well, I wondered if any amusing incidents in the last 40 years come to your mind in or around the Wewoken area.
Well, this last one, getting this jail job was kind of a joke.
It was.
Yeah, there's a lady comes once in a while to visit me. I've knew her ever since, she's just a little child. And when I was jailed a long time ago, her daddy was county commissioner, Everett Stubbs. He was commissioner of the district around Seminole. Me and him were great friends. And this little girl would always come up and see me at the jail. So she'd come up to visit me. Well, now she's 49 years old, widowed, and I'm a widower. So she told her dad one day, she says, I moved in not far from Mr. Merrill. I see him pretty often. She said, well, he said, what is it, in a wheelchair or crutches or what? I said, no, he can walk either one of those. I said, what? He said, well, you see about him every day, you'll find him never a heart attack someday, dead. So she goes to him for the other one. She's a fast reader, and we was discussing the Bible. We got to her, and she says, Mr. Mayor, why don't you apply for a jail job? I said, well, they wouldn't have him. He said, well, I said, well, just settle it. So I went up and told him the office and the undersheriff. And she said, oh, we got a jailer. Well, a few days she called me and said, would you like to go up to New Lima tomorrow night to a Democrat meeting? And I said, you'd like to see a lot of your old friends. So she said, I said, well, we'll take you out. We went up there and the sheriff was there and shook her, and there's so lots of old friends, you know. And we started back. She says, you're going to get that jail job. I said, oh, quit kidding me. She said, sheriff, watched every move you made. And so in about 3 days, he signed me. So I told him, I said, well, my son's going to come and get me and take me up to Tulsa Fire. And, well, he says, can you get back Monday evening and go to work? And I said, yes. Well, I wouldn't tell my son about it because he kidded me. So I come back Monday evening, went to work. Now, then another fellow taking a week about.
Now, how long ago was that?
Well, that's the second month.
This second month. Well, for goodness sake, are you enjoying it?
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's kind of like home again.
Yeah. Well, I have another question that I'm always admiring people that hold the law and order, and I just was wondering if, while you were sheriff, if you ever had to shoot at or shoot anyone in your...
No, I didn't have a drop. I didn't get a drop of blood from anyone, but I come very near a time or two, and I witnessed one execution. A fellow drifter in here killed my best the sheriff at Seminole, and I finally got him and watched him electrocute him.
That was at McAllister.
Yes, sir. That's about, I think, there's been two executions since then.
Mm-hmm. Well, I imagine that made quite an impression on you, didn't it?
Yes, you know. I tell you, I still believe in that capital punishment.
Yes, I think probably you're right, because otherwise there is nothing to deter a man from doing whatever he wants,
Well,
unless he knows there's some punishment.
I think what is the name that was head of us, United States Supreme Court, Earl Warren.
Oh, yeah, the Warren. Yeah.
I think he is. I think he is. Well, I'm going to tell you my opinion. Of course, everybody, I guess, disagree with me. You see, Earl Warren he finished his career college education in California, if I'm right.
I think that's right.
And
he was governor of California before he was...
He was talking about running for governor, and President Eisenhower said, no, I'm going to put you in as head of the Supreme Court of the United States. Well, he came in there, and if my mind serves me right, the Supreme Court is only to interpret laws, not to make them.
This is correct.
And I'll fully believe till I draw my last breath that the crime syndicate got a hold of Earl Warren and paid him more money than the United States has paid, or he wouldn't have brought them kind of laws on to the people of the United States.
Well, I certainly agree that it's been a sad deterrent on the law and order process in this nation since that, and it looks to me as though that the thing is starting to reverse itself now, and it's going to straighten out. Well, do you think of anything else now?
Well, now, talking about being elected sheriff, I didn't have a dime. You laugh at me. The people kept away. They were stealing cattle all over this country. In one little place down there, I won't name it. But they almost had to wear badges down there to keep from stealing from each other. And they kept on at me. I made 3 trips afoot, practically foot, around over Seminole County. We have lots of people there. And a million a day, I went out. Campaign like this fast with hot dog, which was a nickel then. And but I'd go somewhere that night they'd have a political meeting. Lots of times I'd be making a talk and wondering if my inside was growling worse than was drowning out my voice. Yes. But when I got home, there's 2 merchants that told me, you go ahead, we can't give you no money, but we'll furnish you groceries.
What year was that now?
That is in 36. And so they said, if you don't win, you don't know us. If you win, you pass. So I won by a big majority. And I stayed in until 47. Went out.
Soldier boys on Seminole and Milwaukee are in the same county.
Yes, sir. Same county.
How about Homedale?
No, it's in Hughes
It's
County.
in Hughes. Yeah. Well, do you think of anything else that you think might be of interest, Mr.
No, not
Merrill?
You was talking about shooting. One incident, you know, I never believed in shooting people. I don't believe in mistreating people. But, you know, we're all born alike. Some of us have a little better chances than others, but I don't believe in mistreating people. Now, some people think if you treat them good, they kind of running over you. But yet, you can only treat people as nice as they'll let you.
That's right.
All through life.
That's correct.
When one of us dies, we'll let just his Lord, yeah. The other one.
That's right. That's right.
Just like I told some boys up there this morning, so I left, I said, well, there's, I think Governor Edmondson is gone. I said, it'd be big to do over his barrel and everything, which is natural. But I said, one of us old boys will lay this low as he did.
That's right.
And I think that's a very good philosophy. Well, Mr. Merrill, that's about
What you have in mind.
But
I certainly thank you for a very interesting interview,
Well,
and I
thank
will
you.
say that this is Rolland Kerns concluding an interview with Mr. Bice Merrell on the 18th of November, 1971 at Wewoka, Oklahoma. Thank you.
well, I'm sure glad I met you. Where